in the 5 by 5.
Start. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the 113th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. My name's Alan, and today we are dusting off an age-old format here at Retrotopia and going back to the 5x5. Except this time we're adding an extra by 5 to the mix. That's right, it's 5x5x5, and if you're new to the show, this is basically just our kind of a ranking episode where each of us picks 5 of our top whatever the subject may be for that week and just riff about it for a while, and it makes some good and creative lists. Speaking of good and creative, we actually left this one up to the Patreons to decide. They voted, they had their say, and they decided that games that made us gamers was the topic of the week. And that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because games that made us gamers is not necessarily your favorite games of all time, because there are plenty of games that I could say are the best of all time, but a lot of them I played when I was already well established as a gamer. I mean, we are talking about the games that set you on the path to becoming not just a casual gamer, not just a casual hobby, but the games that really cemented you as a die-hard gamer, for better or worse. They don't even have to be very good. Just those games from your history that really just left an impact on you and made you decide that, you know what, I'm not going to be sporty, I'm not going to be smart, I'm going to spend all my time playing video games. Well, at least that's how it went for me. I don't know about you guys. But we'll get into all of that in just a little while. It's going to be a bit of a shorter intro this week because we don't have a choose one, lose one for obvious reasons. I'll get there in the end, don't worry. Because there's no game of the week. And we also don't have a gentleman's interlude for the same reason. So I suppose I'll get the plugs out the way. So, I mean, if you are just interested in the 5x5x5, then, I don't know, spin on probably about 15 minutes or so, and you'll get to our lists. That said, if you're sticking around, I do have to get the plugs out of the way, and Linktree/Retrotopia, linktr.ee/Retrotopia, you can find all things Retrotopia, including our Dashery, TeePublic, merch pages, where you can find all of our exciting Retrotopia t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, wall art, God, all sorts of stuff, baseball caps, all of that good shit over there on Retrotopia. Probably a bit late for a Christmas present, but maybe a late Christmas present for someone. I don't know. Maybe if you perhaps don't like that person very much, you can get them some of our merchandise. And yeah, you can also find our socials: Instagram, X, whatever else that we're on, Facebook. I think. Do we have Facebook? I don't know. I don't think we have Facebook. Regardless, you can find all of our socials over there on Linktree, and you can also find a link to our Patreon, which is free to join. You get early access to shows as well as access to our quick play series. You get access to our Retro Bites where Brian and Joe talk about different gaming topics that tickle their fancy. You get that 15 days early with an extra topic tacked on the end there for your listening pleasure. And what else? You get to vote in polls like the one that spawned this episode. You get to write in to the host of the episode. You get to comment on the game of the week. All sorts of good stuff. We do also have a paid tier, which for $2 will get you access to all of the above, as well as you get to listen to our New Game Plus show, which is kind of a modern review show for games, because we don't get to talk about those very much on a retro-inspired video game podcast. And you get to pick a game as well for the host of your choice for a quick play. So if there's any little game, any short game from your past that maybe inspired you to become a gamer, then perhaps it's something you could throw at one of us to review for you and see what we think, see if we love it as much as you do. All that being said, I don't care what Patreon tier you're on, because all of you on Patreon get a chance to write into our 9-bit banter box and have your say. And seeing as it's Christmas, I have no idea whether you're on the naughty list or the nice list, but I know all of you are on the culturally elegant list. Alrighty, let's take a look inside of Santa's sack and see what we've got going on here. First up, we have Sharkbite, who says, mine is a double question. Those are allowed, right? Just once, Sharkbite, just once. How do you spell orange? Is it like the colour or the fruit? Also, how do you pronounce it, like the fruit or the colour? Great question. Great question, asking the hard-hitting questions here. I spell orange like the Terry's chocolate, which is, if you don't have those, they are literally chocolates in the shape of an orange that are, you split them into segments, and they're just delicious chocolate orange, and they're a staple of Christmas, and that's how I spell orange. I pronounce orange, I don't know, like the duck à l'orange, duck à l'orange. Roll the R, orange. Yeah, that'll do. Duck à l'orange. Omelette du fromage. If you know, you know. Next up, we've got Festive Yoshi94, who says, Alan, Beano or Dandy? Straight to the point. Yoshi, I love it, and I'm going to get straight to the point as well. Beano, and it's not even close. I mean, we had issues, if you don't know, I don't know if they had these everywhere, but Beano and Dandy were like comic book strips that we used to have in the UK. Maybe they had them in the States, I don't know. Dandy, I was aware of. I think we had a couple floating around at my nan's house, and all I remember from the Dandy is Desperate Dan, and didn't do anything for me. Give me a good old Beano. Dennis the Menace and Gnasher. Minnie the Minx. What's it? Roger Dodger. My favourite were hands down the Bash Street Kids. I love those comic book strips. It was just a bunch of misfits in school, and they just drove their teacher absolutely up the wall. And it was good shit. I loved the Beano, man. Like, we had the annual every year. We would just read and reread those comics over and over again. Good times. Thank you for and very fittingly, for the dose of nostalgia on an episode that is already very nostalgic. Thank you very much, Yoshi. Brother Retro says, Mr. the Gentleman. As a fellow from across the pond, what would you say would be a good representation of a home-style English meal from your part of the globe? For instance, I live in, and I have no idea, I've never heard of this place before, Appalachia? If I pronounce that wrong, I apologise. So a good home-style southern meal to me is, it says friend chicken. I don't know if that's fried chicken or if that is friend chicken. We'll go with friend chicken. I like it. Sounds nice. Baked mac and cheese, collard greens, cornbread with lots of butter, and finish it off with a nice banana pudding or peach cobbler. God almighty, that sounds amazing. So what about you? Anything wild we should know about here in North America? Cheers to you and yours. First of all, Brother Retro, thanks. I'm hungry now. That sounds delicious. God, I'd love to try that. Cornbread, lots of butter, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's no surprise that, English food is... I mean, when you say English food, we kind of just steal everything from everyone else, don't we? I mean, we have our staples, a good, solid roast dinner, which can't be beat, especially if the potatoes are on point. We're big on our stews. Just basically pick your meat of choice, throw it in a pot with just all the vegetables and gravies and all of that good stuff, and just cook it for hours until everything just falls apart. Mop it up with a big crusty loaf of bread slathered in butter. Shepherd's pies, cottage pies. A lot of our food is based around just meat and veg in various combinations. And I know that sounds kind of bland, but I mean, done right and seasoned properly, it's something to be reckoned with. And as for desserts, I don't know, we have traditional English desserts. Well, why not try a spotted dick? Why not? Give it a go. See what you think. All joking aside, I don't actually know what a spotted dick is. I just know it's something that we have over here. I don't know if I've ever even tried it. So, despite what you may have heard. Hoolie's Pet Dinosaur. Alan Boballon. Do you like Lego? If so, what is a Lego set you really want to own? And what is a set you wish existed? Brilliant question. I love Lego, and I would have more of it if it weren't for the fact that I have a very addictive personality, as evidenced by my video game collection, and I made a conscious decision to limit my collecting to just that one thing. If I started going down the Lego rabbit hole, I think I would run out of space and money in this house very, very quickly. That said, I mean, there are a few Lego sets I'd like to own. I mean, obviously something like the Millennium Falcon, the really big one, I think would be awesome. Big Star Wars fan over here. Any of the Zelda sets, I really like the look of that, the Deku Tree Zelda set, I think would look amazing upstairs. I mean, there are a lot of things like the Lord of the Rings sets, the Harry Potter stuff, you name it. There's loads that I would like to own. And as for, you know what? I don't know why this happened, but what is a set you wish existed? And this might be a bit of a niche pull for some of our younger listeners. The Lego set that I really would like is a full-sized Babylon 5 station. Now, I don't know if anyone else here remembers Babylon 5. If you do, let me know, because I would love to talk a bit of that show. I love that show. But if you don't know, it's basically a massive space station, big round, long round tube thing, and I just think it would be amazing just to have that really big and to open up and see all the different races and species of aliens. You could even have a few of the ships, you know, to the side as well, some of the shadows and Vorlons and what have you, and I think that would just make for a really cool set. And I have no idea, I haven't thought of that show in a while, but that's the first thing that jumped into my head, a Babylon 5. So yeah, thank you very much, Huli. The Big Deal says, which is the better anagram for Alan? Nala, the female lion from The Lion King, or anal, which needs no further explanation? No, you're right, The Big Deal. It doesn't need any explanation whatever. I will go for anal because I am quite specific about things and I do get quite particular. So I would say yes, I am quite anal. So yeah, that is apt. And I'm certainly no lion, female or otherwise. So yes, I am Alan and I am anal. And Brian's going to have a field day with that soundbite. And finally, Fill Up My Mouth with Fart says, hi Alan, fun question for you. Being the absolute manly man that you are, you have been cast in a remake of a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger movie from the 90s. Which Arnold role have you been cast as, but not the Terminator? I don't think I could pull off the Terminator. I don't think I have the build or the menacing presence for the Terminator. That being said, films from the 90s, okay, do you know what? It's going to be a bit obvious given the time of year, but I'm going to give a nod to Jingle All the Way. I think that was 96, 97, wasn't it? Because, I mean, that looked like a lot of fun to make. And I would stipulate that I would get to keep the suit. Keep the Turbo Man suit. I would get to keep that suit. And you know what? I mean, I know you said a remake, but if I could just wishlist this a little bit further, I would like to just go back in time and star in the original version, because then, you know, I get to work with, you know, the big shows in that film. I'm a big wrestling fan, so, fuck. His name's just gone out of my head now. Phil Hartman. Phil Hartman. God, that guy was hilarious, wasn't he? And he was so good in that film. And I would just like to go back in time and meet Phil Hartman, because he is the voice of many of our childhoods, I think. But yeah, I'm going to start in Jingle All the Way. Put the cookie down, now! See, yeah, I think I've got the chops for it. And thank you everyone for writing in, as always. That was a lot of fun. Now, obviously, I know that we've got no Choose One, Lose One this week. We've got no Gentleman's Interlude this week. So before we start getting into your comments about the 5x5x5, if I may, I'd just like to take a little moment here to address something. Obviously, I know it was a little while ago now, but the Spotify Wrapped. We saw a lot of people in our Discord posting the Spotify Wrapped, and it really like touched our hearts to see, Retrotopia showing up on so many people's lists, and just to see all the support over the last year. And we've seen some quite astronomical, I mean, for us anyway, certainly we're hardly making a ripple at the top end of this game, but it's just so nice to see the growth and the support from all of you guys over the last year. I mean, we have undeniably come a long, long way doing this, and it just really just makes us feel warm and fuzzy. It's probably the best Christmas gift that we as podcasters could receive, is just seeing those lists and just seeing the support and seeing our numbers go up. And it's just really nice, guys, So I just wanted to say, from all of us here at Retrotopia, I just wanted to thank you all, whether you've been listening from the start, whether maybe if this is your first episode, I don't care. It's just the simple fact that your ears are on this show right now. Just means the world to us. Like, thank you. And, we're going to keep on going. We've got loads of shows planned for next year, and we're just going to keep growing this thing. So once again, thank you. Thank you on behalf of myself, Brian, and Sam, for all of your support in 2025. Onwards and upwards. All right. That's enough of the mushy stuff. That's enough sucking you guys off. Let's get to our episode. And before we talk of our 5 games that made us gamers, we want to hear from you lot and hear about some of the games that made you gamers. So first up on the list, we've got Sharkbite, who says, Thomas the Tank Engine on ZX Spectrum, first game I remember ever playing. Pokemon was my best friend at school. I must have been about 12-ish when it came out, and I was hooked the moment I started it. Final Fantasy VII was the first proper RPG I played. I remember burning those potions before I got to the Scorpion boss in the first reactor. Fun times. World of Warcraft taught me about dailies and the consequences of missing just one. Also taught me to not be married with kids and play this game. Tetris taught me the meaning of try to beat your high score. I could go on with more about these games, but we don't have time. To answer the question, Final Fantasy VII made me a proper gamer. I love Final Fantasy VII, and I love the shout out to the ZX Spectrum as well. Big fan of that system. And yeah, Final Fantasy is a game that undeniably influenced my life as a gamer. But I was at that point, I was already balls deep in gaming, so I was going to say it didn't make my list. I had to think about it. It was a while ago we recorded, but no, it didn't make my list. But good shouts all round. Blaine the Hoagie Man said, the game that made me a gamer will always be Super Mario Bros. 3, but 4 other games that kept me being a gamer. Donkey Kong Country, seeing games with those bright colours were amazing. Final Fantasy VII, there it is again. Being able to see games in a 3D environment and being able to explore so much was awesome, inspiring. Metal Gear Solid, a game that proved games can have great cinematics. Cinematic. Astrobot. Sometimes it's hard nowadays to play a game that gives me these feelings like how I used to, and this game accomplished it. No kidding, Blaine. I mean, that is a very, very new pick for a list like this, but I can't argue that. Like, Astrobot was phenomenal. Definitely agree that it harkened back to that nostalgic feel of like playing those early N64 platformers and what have you. So good shout there. Good shout all round. Big Kid 782 said Super Metroid, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Batman Arkham Asylum, God of War, and Kingdom Hearts. These are the games that got me hooked and had me looking for my next fix. Big Kid, are you just looking at the list of my sort of personal favourite games there? I mean, not the games that are about to come up on this list. Okay, we've established that. But I think you've probably nailed. I mean, I'd be surprised if that didn't comprise at least a large chunk of my top 10 games of all time. Super Dave says, I owe a lot to Pokemon for discovering video games, as well as my dad sharing his love of Pac-Man. Aw, that's wholesome. Pokemon Gen 2, Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup, Sly 2 Honor Among Thieves, Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, and Persona 3. Again, another good list. I've never played a Persona game. Maybe I should. I don't know. Let me know, Super Dave. Where's a good place to start with Persona? And then I'll probably ignore you and just start at the beginning anyway, because that's just what I'm like. Dylan Jacobson says, without these 5 games, I never would have been a lifelong gamer. A Link to the Past, Super Mario Bros. 3, TMNT Turtles in Time, Pokemon Red, and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. I like the niche pull of Shadows of the Empire there. That is a good game. A little bit janky. I played it recently, but that's just probably the N64 is. I don't know how we played the N64 back in the day. I mean, we were obviously a different breed back then, but I played it recently, and it's a great game. It's just doesn't control as well as it used to, but I respect that choice. Brother Retro says, "Oh man, I gotta go with a top 5 as well. Super Mario World, Mortal Kombat 2, Contra 3, Mega Man X, and Tetris. I could write paragraphs about how much these 5 games mean to me, but these 5 games hold an extremely special place in my heart for various reasons. One common reason is that they were all introduced to me by my grandma, of all people, who was also a big gamer in the 90s. Great topic. Can't wait to hear your lists." Big shout out to Nana Retro there. Way to go, Nan. Way to go, Nana. You know, good job. Good job. And finally, Philip My Mouth with Farts says, having played consoles from the Atari 2600 and Coleco all the way up to present day, it's hard to determine a set of games that made me a gamer, but a couple that really made me love the medium. A Link to the Past, Mortal Kombat 2, Sunset Riders for the SNES, Adventure for the 2600, and Resident Evil 2. I could go on for pages given reasons, but I think they speak for themselves. Philip, I'm going to give you all the love in the world right now for shouting out Adventure for the Atari 2600. And not to go on too far of a tangent, but I actually played that again just recently. It was on a collection for my Evercade handheld that I recently got. And I remember playing Adventure back when I was a wee beardless lad with my cousins. And I can't remember if it was on their PC or if it was on their Atari or God knows what, but it was one of those games that I remembered from my childhood, but I could never for the life of me remember what it was. And when I found out what it was, I hunted that bitch down. And you know what? It may be basic nowadays, but it is such a good time. I really enjoyed replaying it, and it definitely deserves a shout. And it is quite revolutionary for its day, I think. So, Adventure on the 2600, my God. Oh, we're getting old, you and me, buddy. Anyway, speaking of getting old, this intro is far longer than I thought it was going to be, so let's get into the episode proper, shall we? So thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for writing in, as always. And again, thank you for all of your support this year. It's meant the world to us. Let's get into it. As voted for by the Patreons, 5x5x5, the games that made us gamers. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to 5x5x5? That's right, for the first time in Retrotopia's history, we're all going to take a top 5 list on the topic that won the top 5 poll. And that topic was the games that made us gamers. So we all sat down there and probably took many, many hours of studying and reflecting on our lives, and we came up with the list of 5 each. Well, I did. Alan seems to have 10, and Sam seems to have finished it today, right after he started it. Either way, it's going to be a good time. Because joining me is, of course, Alan and Sam. And I've just announced the order we're going in.
Hey, there were literally no lies told in that entire introduction. I feel
No.
I feel represented, and I know that's true of Sam as well. Oh
yeah.
True to form. Is just not friends with the schedule, are you, buddy? That's you, Sam.
Yeah. No,
He's
I don't pay attention to anything.
Mind you, today has been kind of one of those days where, paying attention is a little bit hard. We're recording on a Sunday. It's snowing for where myself and Sam are. It's cold, it's miserable, and Alan still lives too far away to hug.
Oh, no. That's just... Oh, that makes me sad, because I'm wearing such a lovely jumper. So I could give it a really
nothing
good.
else.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Just it's not shirt cocking, it's jumper cocking or sweater cocking, which I don't like the sound of.
Sweater
yeah,
cock.
that just sounds
What
wrong.
is that?
You never heard of shirt cocking? It was right from Deadpool 2.
Shirt cocking? I don't know.
That's where you're wearing no pants and your cock's hanging out below your
Oh,
shirt.
Yeah, the Winnie the
I
Pooh.
call that. Yeah, that's what I call that. I call that Winnie the Pooh. Or
Donald ducking.
does Donald Duck have a sweater, or is he just got it like a?
He wears a top, but he doesn't wear pants.
That's right.
Okay, that's all right.
No wonder he's so
Or
angry.
Winnie
all
the
the
Mickey
Pooh
time.
Mouse is-
if you're on the toilet.
Mickey Mouse's suspenders, no shirt,
That's right.
Yeah.
giant shoes.
But that is way off topic. All right, so the topic du jour is the top 5 games that made us gamers. And when I picked my list, I took a look all the way back from the first game I played all the way up to the game I think that really solidified me into the video game lifestyle. And that was my methodology for doing this. How did you guys really look at your games?
Kind of the same, really. It's a difficult topic to kind of talk about, right? Because I mean, there are very obvious choices, like, you know, the first game you played and stuff like that. But there's also just like, it's not just that. I mean, there are games you play along the way that maybe, I don't know, bring you back or just make you fall in love with the media all over again. It's just, I kind of approached it like that. And it's really difficult to differentiate between the games that made you a gamer and then just wanting to throw some of your favourite games on there, because that might not be the case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not all of these are. I think no, not all of them are my favorite, but most of them are among my favorites. But there's very specific reasons why I picked each one, and they're not necessarily. Each one's different, and it's very. I think it feels very clumped into a certain era, and then a huge gap of time, and then another one. So I'm not gonna. I hope that's not a spoiler, but you'll see how it goes. And I kind of tried to. Actually, they did kind of stay in chronological order, whether I wanted them to or not. But there'll be some skipping around a bit.
Autobiographical.
Yes.
I love it.
All right, with that, let's start with our number 5, and the order is going to be, as I said, Alan, Sam, then myself. So, Alan, you can start with number 5.
Hey, listen!
5.
All right. Number 5 out of 10. Fuck, where do I even go from here? I'm still flabbergasted that I've not actually done a 5x5x5 before. So that's kind of a little
We
strange.
haven't done a
I know,
5x5x5 before.
but it feels like we should have done, right? How has this only just happened now?
Yep.
I am going to pick...
We're going to be listing off 125 things.
125, yeah. That's exactly... Starting with number 125.
All right.
I'm going to pick for my number 5, and I feel like my list is maybe a little bit vanilla, but I'm no good at making lists, so bear with me. I'm going to pick the 1989 Game Boy game Super Mario Land, because it is not necessarily everyone's favourite entry in the Super Mario series, but I have just such fond memories of playing this game, and I've probably said this before. I think I did a quick play on this game way back in the day. It's just...
I think it was your first one.
It might have been. It was either that or Castlevania The Adventure. I can't remember which one I did first, but this was definitely one of them. And this just harkens back to those heady days when I was a child and summers used to go on forever, and I would just waste them sitting outside playing a Game Boy religiously. And this was the game that I would play. It's one of the earliest games that I knew I could complete, which kind of fueled my lust for beating games. Because I knew it was a reliable one that I could just sit down and within sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, just put it to bed. And it kind of taught me that while I did have friends and I could go out and play with them, I could also quite happily just ignore them and play a game sitting on a park bench or in a field somewhere and just whiling away the hours playing this game over and over and over again. And I think since then that's just sparked my love of portable gaming that exists to this day. I mean, I'd hear an argument that I prefer portable gaming to console gaming, but that's neither here nor there. But it all started with this one.
It's a great game. I remember playing that in the doctor or the dentist's office. They had a Game Boy, so my mom would take us a little bit early so we could go play the Game Boy, and that's pretty much where I first played and beat Super Mario Land.
Right. And there are other games on the Game Boy I could have picked. You know, I was tempted to put like Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening on there, but I was just like, no, I was already established at playing portable game, and that's the difficult thing about this list. You know, it's just like, yeah, I prefer Link's Awakening, but I was already balls deep in portable gaming at that point. This is the game that sort of sparked my love of it.
Right on.
Hell yeah.
Sam?
I had that game too. I like that game. Super Mario Land.
It's fun.
That was actually Super Mario Land is actually my Mario experience because I didn't have a Nintendo console really until the 64. So that was
Same.
My version of Mario was Mario's Missing on the PC and Super Mario Land on the Game Boy.
Woof.
Yeah. No wonder I thought Mario kind of sucked. All right. My number 5 is going back to 1994, Sonic and Knuckles for the Genesis. And the reason why I picked this one is because I must have gotten it for Christmas either, I think 1994 or 1995. So I might have been in 2nd or 3rd grade. But I think this is one of the first games that I really consciously wanted. I had Sonic 1 and 2 and I liked Sonic, but usually I wasn't really aware of or reading gaming magazines or picking my own games or anything. So I would just kind of get like either my dad would pick games that he would think I would like, or I would end up with stuff like Taz Escape from Mars or Stimpy's Invention, like stuff that's from IP that I liked, you know, like your licensed schlock. Not always schlock. Escape from Mars is actually a pretty good game. But what was another one that I would get all the time? Oh, like the Power Rangers games and stuff like those were the types of games that I was usually getting early in my gaming lifetime. But Sonic and Knuckles was one that I actually asked for and I spent quite a bit of time with and has lasted. I actually I think I got rid of my Sega when I got the 64. So I didn't have any of my original games, but I've since collected a few of them at least. And Sonic and Knuckles was one of them that I really had an eye out for, because that was a big game that really, if it didn't make me a gamer, at least was like one of my early memories of being aware of what I wanted. So Sonic and Knuckles is my number 5.
I mean,
Yeah, good number 5.
I mean, do I even need to say anything?
Yeah. I mean, you can make quite the stack with it.
I fully endorse. I mean, Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 together is just peak 16-bit era gaming for me.
But you know what the funny thing is I never had Sonic 3. So Sonic 3 is on my list. And I know that you can play them on collections and everything, but I do want a physical copy because I want to make that stack.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And I don't have a copy of Sonic 2 currently, but that one's not as hard to find. No. I do want to make my stack.
Stack away, buddy.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, mine's not as exciting as that, but mine actually comes with a story, though. We recovered this movie. You remember The Wizard?
Yes.
Well, The Wizard is a movie where what we now know is an autistic kid who just absolutely locked into Nintendo games goes on a journey to try to play at this big overall competition, and he ends up winning it. But it was actually when this movie came out, it came out in, hold on a second, I got the wiki open here. Oh, yeah, don't give me a date. 1989, so December 15th, 1989. The game I'm talking about is the one they show at the end, Super Mario Bros. 3, which came to North America February 12th, 1990. Now, it was already out in Japan at the time. I, however, did not know anything about video gaming outside of Canada, really, because I was a kid and I didn't have Nintendo Power at the time, so I knew nothing of Super Mario Bros. 3. And we were watching this movie, and I believe it was in the theater, but maybe it was just a rental, and when they showed Super Mario Bros. 3 at the end and that big reveal, my little 8-year-old brain just exploded. No, 10-year-old brain. What year did I say this came out? 1989? 9-year-old. I'll split it in the middle. Anyways, I was young. And I was just, oh my God, it was the biggest reveal of my life up to that point. I was so excited. I was bouncing on the walls. I wanted to play this game, and I watched that scene over and over and over just because of the way it was revealed was really big to me. And it's still why I like watching like the Game Awards, because I prefer to see those reveals happen, and that's what gets me excited. I don't play Dragon Ball Fighter Z or Dragon Ball Z Fighters, but I watched a reveal video with a revealed in front of an audience of Kefla. Yeah, Kefla being revealed there and people freaking out, and I got excited with them. That's kind of what this game did to me, is it really developed my excitement of new IPs, or not new IPs, but new games, things to look forward to, the big reveals and all that. That's why I made my list, because this one really locked me into that liking games outside of just playing them.
I agree. You know, one of my favorite of all time has got to be that reveal that they did for God of War Ragnarok. Have you seen that?
No, but I'll probably watch it after we're done.
They're just playing a trailer, and then when Kratos just walks out onto the screen, the pop is something else. So yeah, that is real. Oh, that is real.
Did you watch the Final Fantasy VII remake reveal?
I did not. No, just as good.
Oh God, when you watch it in front of the audience and them freaking out, because like at that point everybody just thought it was a meme. They're never going to remake it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then they started this video off, and it just looked generic. And all of a sudden, you hear the Telltale music from the beginning of the game, and people just went "Whoa!" Then they showed Midgar there, and it was just like, yeah, it was great.
The story of Final Fantasy VII Remake is kind of fun, because I distinctly remember being in college, and like I would play more. I would go back through and play some of my older games. Like, so I was playing Final Fantasy VII a ton, and that's where I really got into like going through and beating the extra weapons and all that kind of stuff. But I just remember when the PS3 came out, and they did that kind of more or less tech demo of the introduction to Final Fantasy 3, or not 3, PlayStation 3, Final Fantasy 7. They did that like up-resed version of the intro, and then everyone was just like, so you're gonna make us that, right, as like a whole game? And they're like, give us a minute.
I honestly feel like
decade.
They do that simply to gauge reaction.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
And because the reaction was overwhelmingly positive, they decided to completely make the game and make it as profitable as possible by splitting it into 3 parts.
Right.
Which I've still only played one of. So
yeah, me too. Just the first one and the little integrate thing.
Still haven't done that even. So I need to pull my
that one.
finger
That's
out.
actually a lot of fun. Integrate is super fun.
It actually made Yuffie a likable character.
I liked Yuffie in the first version. She was.
I didn't.
It gave her a little more. Gave her a little more oomph. And that chessboard game, or whatever they called that. What was the? God, no, I can't remember anything.
Fort Condor?
Yes, Fort Condor.
Fort Condor, yeah.
That Fort Condor is actually a really fun mini game.
That's actually expanded on in the second one.
Excellent.
Oh, you see.
I will get to it in about 10 years.
I was going to say, as soon as the schedule allows us.
Wait for the third one to come out, and I guarantee you they're going to sell a 3-pack of games.
Well, I already own 2 of them.
There's an idea.
Just haven't played
special collector's edition. Well, this is more for Sam then, Alan.
Okay.
But you'll still buy it because you're a collector.
True.
That's true. They
I'm
know
cursed.
You will.
I know.
All right, let's move on to number 4.
Hey, listen!
4. Okay, I guess that's me again. So my number 4 is a pick that I distinctly remember watching somebody else play, and it literally grabbed me by the balls right from the off. It was released in 1999 for the PlayStation 1, and I swear I'm not doing this just to fuck with you, Brian.
I know exactly what it is now.
Yep, I know.
It is, of course, Final Fantasy VIII, which is... I mean, okay, I'll hear the argument that there are better Final Fantasy games, and I've played better Final Fantasy games, but this was my first experience with a huge open world JRPG kind of game, and right from the off, that opening cutscene was one of the most beautiful things I'd ever seen in gaming up until that point.
I will not argue with you on that point. It is one of the best openings to
Anything.
any game I've played.
Anything. Yeah, agreed. And with
And that's where the good stuff ends.
listen, this is my pick. You sit in the corner in the cuck chair and wait your turn, okay? Because I fell in love with the characters in this game. I loved the story, I loved the gameplay, and it's one of the first times that I can think of that I sunk this much time into a video game. I mean, I literally spent hours playing Final Fantasy VIII. It was probably the first game that I'd ever stayed up all night playing until the sun came up. And you know that awful thing when the birds start singing in the morning and you fucked up? Trust me, it's the sound of it's the sound of regret instantly. I just
cycle over and start the next day in my brain, and I wake up.
That's fair. That's a good technique, actually. I poked into every corner of this game. I knew everything about all the characters. I leveled up everyone to level 100, which, as it turns out, was a very stupid thing to do. Because the mechanics of leveling in this game are not conducive to somebody's first proper RPG. And I realize that now.
Final Fantasy VII was sitting right over there on the shelf, probably discounted a little bit.
And I had never heard of it. Because this was literally my stepsister got this game for Christmas, and I watched her play it. And that's where I was just like, I've got to get hold of this game. I've got to play this game, because we play it together, and obviously you would get so far and then I had to go home, and it was just like, I have to know what happens next. The story had me so engrossed. And that's, I think, probably the first time that I realized that this medium could tell a story that was big enough to occupy, 4 discs? 4 discs for a game? I was like, what the hell is going on here? That's crazy. I
think it was more about the graphical upgrade than the story.
Yeah, but consider what? However old I was at that point. I can't do the math. Anyway, I'd never heard that was the equivalent of having multiple cartridges for a game. It's just like, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
So it's just like the size, the scope, and the level of polish on the game, which sounds funny now. It just blew me away. The cinematic nature of it and the storytelling and all of that. It was just, wow. Okay, I didn't realize that video games could do this.
Well, I'll let you have this one, and I won't say anything negative about it anymore for the rest of the day.
You know what else is cool about the discs is that they had pictures of the characters kind of etched onto the tops of the discs. So each disc looked unique and was a cool piece of the whole ensemble of everything that was in that jewel case.
That's what sucks about the platinum versions.
I actually still have the game sitting behind me.
I do. I have mine
with
too.
Those discs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
no dust on it at all or anything. I just never even opened.
Part of my game collection that survived with me was a good amount of my PlayStation stuff, minus the actual PlayStation. I do have my PS2.
That's a solid thing to keep.
That's all you need.
Yeah,
that's all you need.
Great console.
Yeah, it still works. All right, should I go for my 5 or my 4? I did my 5 already. My number 4 is Warcraft 2 for the PC, which came out in 1995. This, I think I've told the story before or mentioned before how my dad was into PC gaming, and that kind of helped usher my love of games along a little bit from a PC standpoint. I think a lot of my early memories of gaming are actually PC games, and then I got into my own console gaming a little bit more afterwards. But Warcraft 2 was one of the first games that I actually spent a significant amount of time playing, whether it was going through, as far as I could. I wasn't necessarily the greatest at it, because there is a lot of resource and unit management and everything that you have to go through. So you can really kind of fuck yourself over in a playthrough if you spend a good hour and a half working on a map and then realizing that you've done it wrong. But I would go through and, create maps. I would play with all the different, abilities of some of the units and stuff. And I would read the manual, like the manual that came with it with all the pictures, all the backstory of all the different factions of orcs and humans. I liked the, like the theme of it. That was part of more than like a Lord of the Rings. I think Warcraft got me into fantasy, where I had already kind of dipped a toe into science fiction and space stuff. I think I prefer my space to my high fantasy, but also like Warcraft did a lot to bring me into that world. I don't know. Yeah. Also was one of the first kind of experiences with online gaming where you do the dial-up modem. I think I mentioned this with, I don't know, we didn't cover Command and Conquer yet, but playing dial-up games of Command and Conquer or Duke Nukem or Warcraft 2 was pretty big at the time. So that was kind of my first experience with that. I remember having to, either my dad or myself, like having to put the codes in to kind of like link up phone lines, and yeah, good times. It has been finally re-released on Blizzard, whatever their service is called, Battle.net. For a long time, it wasn't available, and then it was available on Good Old Games, and now I think it's actually been delisted from Good Old Games because Blizzard took it back and did basically a remaster where you can play the original Warcraft 1 and 2 through a DOS box, I think, if you're playing on PC. And then there is a remaster that just upreses everything but keeps the original gameplay. And oh man, we got to cover it someday. It's one of my favorites of all time. But yeah, I think that really informed a lot of my tastes and things that I like about gaming was Warcraft 2, and that was an early one for me.
Mm-hmm. I think we've discussed it for a while, Warcraft 2. I think we definitely owe you an episode of that somewhere down the line.
Well,
yeah, you owe me.
It's on the list.
You owe
we
me.
just keep forgetting.
I mean,
whatever,
in the spirit of us,
whatever. I mean, there's plenty to cover.
In the spirit of us planning episodes while we're doing another episode, I think that's something we need to look, because I've never played a single Warcraft game, and I know it's kind of an easy series to take shots at now. It's just like anything. When it gets so super popular, it kind of becomes a target for ridicule. So all I know from Warcraft is stuff like fucking South Park and what have you.
Oh, World of Warcraft, yeah.
Yeah, yes. And it's just like, well, there's got to be a reason that this series did so well to get to this point. And I would really be interested in finding out why, because I like those kind of games. Like, I played a lot of Command and Conquer back in the day, which I feel is kind of a similar vein, as you mentioned.
For sure.
And those kind of games you can really lose hours on, just planning and strategizing and building up your forces and all of that good stuff. The hours just kind of drop off.
Yeah, they sure do. Especially if you play it like my style is like a very defensive style, so I do like to build up and just like draw it out.
Engineer rush. I don't know what the equivalent in Warcraft 2 is, but just shit tons of engineers and you just steamroll the enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Zerg rush, I think, is StarCraft.
Yeah, Zerg rush. I don't think there's really an equivalent in Warcraft 2. It's both orcs and humans are very, there's some differences when it comes to like different spells that like the wizards or mages can do, but generally you've got kind of just an analogous counterpart on the other side, and they're very similar, but it's a great game nonetheless.
I think I'm going to bite the bullet on that one and get a copy on the Sega Saturn, just so I can and I know we've discussed this before, but it is I'm sure it is available on the Sega Saturn, and I can't imagine it plays as well, but I think for a little bit of
a cool thing to have.
Yeah, not only that, if we all play it on PC, well, where's the variation? Where's the conversation there? No, I need to take that bullet.
Two of us loved it, one of us hated it.
Exactly.
Find out who.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, let's moving on to my number 4, which is actually a very, very similar story to Alan's. This is a role-playing game in the Final Fantasy series that I watched somebody else play wanted to play myself because I wanted the story, ended up loving it, and it really solidified my love of JRPGs. That'd be Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo. My brother brought this game home, and he reads faster than I did at that time, and I couldn't keep up with him as he blasted through the text, but I was starting to catch pieces of the story, and I finally said, I want to try this. So I started playing it, and I got addicted. Just like Alan, I played the game for an ugly amount of time on my first sit down. I wanted to get through the story. I wanted all the story beats to just absorb into me, and after this game, anything that was a JRPG, I literally jumped out and got because I just needed more of it. And even to this day, turn-based JRPGs are still one of my favorite. And going through the Final Fantasies again, they play just as well as they used to. The Pixel Remastered doesn't do a lot to really upgrade a lot about the game, but pixel art holds up. And the gameplay holds up, especially for a game released in 1991. So, yeah, I understand where you came from with Final Fantasy VIII, Alan. I just don't agree with the game.
No, that's fine. And can I just... Because I feel like I need to clarify, because you said Final Fantasy 2.
It's 4.
Okay.
But it was called 2 on the Super Nintendo.
No, fine, that's all right. I just want to make sure...
That's why I qualified that Super Nintendo part.
Oh, right, okay. I mean, listen, we never got anything until Final Fantasy 6, so... You know, I have to make these distinctions because I need to know that we're talking about the same game. Final Fantasy IV is stunning. A stunning game. It looks gorgeous. It's just, the story as well is just impeccable. I mean, that is a hot choice. And I really need to play that game again because it's one of the standouts of the entire franchise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think this is where Final Fantasy hit their stride. They've done fucking around with it. Like, 1 obviously was just the initial Final Fantasy, then 2 went off the rails by making your weapons basically your level system.
Mm-hmm.
Then they attempted the job system there, but it was broken because, like we've discussed in the episode, you can just use Dragoons and jump your way through the game. So this one focused mostly on story, and it had a killer story, one of the best in the series, 100%. In my opinion.
I still like actual Final Fantasy 2 more than most people do, I think.
Well, I enjoyed that game, definitely.
I do. I like it a lot, actually.
I don't know if it's because I played
perfect.
it on the Game Boy Advance, so I guess it had been tweaked.
Mm-hmm.
But
if you played the 3D remake, then you're not playing the same one.
Oh no, it was definitely 2D. They just like up-res the graphics to be close to 16-bit and not.
No, I remember because Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo was kind of a toned-down version of Final Fantasy IV because Japan always thought that we sucked at video games and we needed a crutch. They weren't wrong, but at the same time, really. So they when they re-released it on the Game Boy Advance, I believe you got the original version.
Yeah, well, quite possibly. Yeah, I mean, just a great game and a great series. But I think Final Fantasy IV is really, like you said, that's really where story became a huge focus of Final Fantasy. And I think like without Final Fantasy IV, we don't have 6, 7. Yes, 8, onwards, when they really started like working on character development and these big shocking reveals and surprises and things like that. I mean, earlier Final Fantasy games were just kind of faceless heroes off to fight chaos. And
well, Final Fantasy 2 had a story. Like it does actually take the time to really build a story. It's just the game itself. I haven't played it, but the original version I guess is a little bit broken where you just spend most of your time beating up your own guys to level up.
Oh, I absolutely cheesed that. 100%. Even on the Game Boy Advance version, that still works. Yeah.
I especially do that in Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, you have to do that in Final Fantasy Tactics. You get that one last enemy, you near death them, and then you just sit there and beat the crap out of your healer, and then your healer heals himself.
Yep.
I will do whatever it takes on Final Fantasy Tactics to make sure I'm leveled up enough so that one-on-one fight with that dude whose name I can't remember right now.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I will do anything to make that fight manageable.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to number 3.
Hey, listen!
3.
Oh, here we are again, looking at my big long list and just thinking what's getting bumped and what's getting used. I think for pure effect that it had on me, it's a game that we've covered. It was released in 1996 for the PlayStation 1, again. And while playing it, you might find yourself having a hankering for a Jill sandwich. It is, of course, Resident Evil. I was undeniably a bit of a horror junkie, even as a kid. I was watching films that were, generally speaking, not suitable for my age bracket from a very early age. You know, I loved Alien, I loved Terminator. I watched like the Chucky films, all of George Romero stuff, Night of the Living Dead, and all of that. And I first saw Resident Evil at my grandmother's house. My uncle was living there, and he had this wonderful grey box full of magic, and he showed us Resident Evil. He probably shouldn't. He's not listening, but if you are, Uncle Pete, smooth move, buddy. But yeah, just seeing the atmosphere that oozed off of this game, and just, I didn't know that games could be scary. I'd never had any experience with that. You know, it's just like video games were always bright and colourful, and they had Mario and Sonic, and they were cute and they were fun. All of a sudden, this game's got zombies and guns and blood and zombie dogs and stuff like that. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And, you know, to however old I was then, what was I? I must have been like 10 or 11 or something stupid like that. Yeah, it must have been. And like that opening cutscene was really, I mean, it's fucking laughable now, but to a 10-year-old, that was the coolest thing in the world. And I knew, again, this was a game that I needed to get my hands on, and it probably wasn't for a substantial amount of time after that, because, you know, what you see somebody else play and what your parents allow you to play are usually two very different things. But, yeah, once I got my hands on this, it just kick-started a love of survival horror games that still exists to this day. I mean, I have loved Resident Evil since the first time I laid eyes on it, and could not be more excited for the release of Resident Evil 9. And it all started with that one fucking zombie who turns around in that corridor in that awful FMV video right at the start of the mansion. And I was just like, yep, that's it. Up, sign me up. I'm in. I knew I was going to spend a lot of time in Raccoon City.
Excellent.
Yes. Actually, I didn't dislike Resident Evil when I first played it. I played the first two when I was younger. I just fell out of love with that style of game. Like, even Silent Hill is hard for me to play.
Oh, I agree. I get that.
I think it's mostly because of the tank controls. Like, I tried playing Mega Man Legends again, and the tank controls nearly sent me into a blind rage.
Tank controls for me are like riding a bicycle. I mean, I have played this series and Silent Hill inside and out so many times. It's just like, I don't think it's a skill that I can lose at this point.
I fell off them for far too long, and now I'll never get it back.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's not intuitive.
I have trouble with them.
It is not an easy thing to deal with, and especially with those like sudden camera angle changes and your character's going one way and suddenly they're going another way. And you know, that's something we might be talking about in the not too distant future for an upcoming game. But yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it for all its cheesy B-movie quirkiness and bad voice acting and all of that good stuff.
Yep.
True.
No, it's a great pick. I like the story that came with it too. I was like locked in there.
I liked it more. I mean, we played it and covered it this year, the first Resident Evil, and I don't think I had played it. I had played a little bit of it, but I had never played it all the way through like we did for this, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, for sure.
Yeah. All right, Sam, you wanna take that up?
Yeah, number three.
Number three.
Yeah. All right. This number 3 for me, we're going to the PlayStation, and we're going to 1998 as we progress through the 90s here. I liked this game for the same reason I think I liked Sonic and Knuckles, and that is Metal Gear Solid. It was tough for me to pick from this era because this is where I was like fully into, I had my Game Informer subscription. We were fully into like talking about what games we were playing at the schoolyard. And this is where I was like, you know what? I like Nintendo 64 and I like Nintendo, but I think I like the PlayStation because I was starting to get a little more. I don't even know what the word is. Like I was just getting a little bit more thoughtful about what games I was playing and what those games were bringing and what not only the aesthetic but just like the type of games and the challenge that they brought, because this was not. I don't think this is an easy game. I haven't really played it recently, but I remember this being one of the first conscious memories of me, like just kind of sitting down with a game and just playing it until I figured it out. There's as the saying goes, many ways to skin a cat, and I think there were a lot of different ways to. I'm getting a lot of the same feelings from this as from this game as I do Devil May Cry, which we're playing right now for an upcoming episode, where it's just like, yeah, I think there's probably a best way to play it, but there's also, a way to figure it out. And that's what I'm getting with a lot of the Devil May Cry bosses, is just like kind of just jamming the same attack over and over again and finding some success and just making my way through it. But this was definitely the first game that I think I beat on my own without really looking up a lot of how to beat it. I think probably we had some knowledge of, what you were supposed to do with your controller port and the codec on the back of the game and all that kind of stuff. Like that was kind of knowledge that was just kind of out there, like I said, talked about on the schoolyard and stuff like that. But I think, this is definitely a big one as far as, like I felt a sense of accomplishment because I beat something, and I didn't really beat a lot of games in the 16-bit era, especially because I was playing a lot of schlock or, Sonic games are not easy. So, I think Metal Gear Solid is my number 3. That's all I got. Metal Gear Solid.
Story.
Yeah.
Good story.
We should cover that one. We covered Metal Gear, the weird Nintendo one.
Let's cover Metal Gear Solid 4, because in that game you can play Metal Gear Solid all the way through, and we can kind of do a 2-for-1.
I never found that. Is that true?
He has a dream in a helicopter near the end of the game, and he's back in what's it called? I can't remember the name of the base.
Shadow Moses.
Is it?
Yeah, Shadow Moses, and it's the actual game, and you can replay it, and it's built inside of Metal Gear Solid 4.
I've only played Metal Gear Solid 4 once, admittedly.
You can also skip it because, if you just want to get back to Metal Gear Solid 4, which in my opinion was a very, very good game, and when I was playing it, I didn't want to go backwards in time.
Yeah, no, Metal Gear Solid 4 is a great game. Cutscenes notwithstanding.
Is it like a remake version of it, or is it just like
No, it's the
port?
original version.
Oh, that's amazing.
Kind of shoved in there, and he's dreaming, and then you're just playing the game again.
I do want to play it. I think I sold my copy. I should get it.
I love Metal Gear Solid. If it wasn't for something like Resident Evil already pulling me over to PlayStation and all of that good stuff, like I could hear an argument for putting it on my list, because wow, I mean the story is crazy. The interactivity, like outside of the game, was mind-boggling. Like you say, figuring that stuff out, like with the control pad, with the codec, it's just like that's some crazy fourth wall breaking there that I'd never seen before.
Yeah,
that's Kojima.
It's a cool. Like I gotta play it again. It's a fun ass game. Like it's funny that you mentioned that you were close. Sounds like you were maybe close, or this is one that you might consider putting on your list, because Final Fantasy VIII is definitely one I might consider putting on my list, even though I've never fucking finished that game.
It's tough,
I did sink a lot of hours into it as a young man, but yeah, Metal Gear Solid. So I'm glad. Like we didn't even plan this, folks. We got to mention both of them anyways. So
Well, there you go. There you go.
Metal Gear Solid.
There's as many I'm leaving off of this list as I'm putting on, and I could go on all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
My list kind of goes in a different direction because I'm going all the way back to 1980.
Ooh,
wow.
All right.
The game was released in 1980, so this is the first game I ever played, and I don't think we might have had the Atari console at home, but I definitely had it at a babysitter. And every Atari console in the 1980s was hooked up to a black and white TV. I've never seen an Atari game in color until I got the Atari 50 collection. And
nuts.
this one is Missile Command.
Oh my god, I was so like, I've got, not on my list, but in my honorable mentions, I've got a 1980 Atari game, and I was just like, if you say it, I'm going to be so fucking surprised. Sorry, go on.
Is it E.T.?
No, it was Battle Zone.
Oh,
It was
Battlezone.
yeah.
Oh man,
That was part of the pile of games we had. But Missile Command, I remember being the first one I played, and I played it. It was just kind of that kid finds candy kind of moment there, and I just gobbled it up. And it's not a complex game. I mean, it's really, really simple. But I was really, really young, and I would just sit in front of that TV. You know how we complain about our kids having too much screen time? Well, the Radiation King was, burning a nice tan into me while I played this game nonstop every time. Like, it was after school care, so I'd go there from my school, and the first thing I'd do was hunker down, and they would just hand me like a snack, and I'd play Missile Command or whatever was in the console at the time.
incredible.
So yeah, I don't really have much more to say about it. It's just, this was the game I played first. Ergo, without this game, would I have played video games afterwards, or would I have continued to transform my Transformers?
Both good options,
Both.
though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
very good options.
I still have Transformers.
I mean,
all right, let's.
I have an Atari 2600 upstairs, and one of the very few games that I have
lucky
for
bastard.
it is Missile Command. So, yeah, it's a classic, right? It's a proper
is.
arcadey style classic. I love it.
Did they ever
I
make an
still got to
Atari
sit
Mini?
down with. No, but they have.
They made like the
things like that out.
yeah. They made like
hang
a
it.
remade console, right? You could stick old games in.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did a mini.
I got the Lego Atari console here, and that was insanely fun to build.
Ooh.
I just like wood paneling. I want that to
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
back. I want wood paneling to come back on like the PlayStation 6 or whatever.
That being said, I do like the Vader. You ever seen the Vader, the Atari 2600 that's all black?
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I've got
let me
the
look that up.
Junior, so it's not as cool as either, but still.
I love the Atari.
Atari
So many good memories.
600 Vader.
All right, let's move on to number 2.
Hey, listen!
2.
So, for my number 2, and I have actually shuffled this list around while we've been talking, because I've got a new number 1. But this would have been number 1. And it was released in 1986 for the Sega Master System. I have covered it on the show on a quick play, I believe. And excuse me while I just cough my guts up. Excuse me. I think it's a possibility that I was perhaps unfairly unfair on this game when I reviewed it, but that's because I haven't played it in a while. It's Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Quite famously beat it on a quick play not long ago and really had a rough time with it. I still think there are some design choices in that game that are absolutely baffling. But the further away I get from actually playing it, the thing I remember the most is just the bright colours, the platforming, the music, and all of that good stuff. And this gets second place purely because it is, as far as I can remember, the first video game I ever played. Back on our Master System that we had, God, in Enfield it would have been. And it was built into the system. So my very first experience with a literal pack-in title built into the console itself. You didn't need a game to play it. You could just play it whenever you liked. And Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's aged all that well, but I still can't help but just have fond memories, at least of those first 2 levels, which is about as far as I could get as a child. But I would play it over and over and over, and I didn't care back then that I couldn't beat it. I was just having fun. You know, I didn't care about story. I didn't care about how good the gameplay was. It was just the purest form of fun without any sort of like, I can't get past this bit or I can't beat it. It was just like, no, that's as far as I can get. That was fun. Let's do something else now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that keep in mind that these are not we're not considering these our favorite games. These are our
No, and that's the thing.
like,
I
wow,
have to keep
Alex
reminding
Kidd being at
myself.
the top of any list is nuts.
I know, right? I know, but it's just pure nostalgia.
Yeah, that's true. Good call.
Sam,
That was
Brian.
Yes.
Go.
Next.
Sorry, Brian, you were going to say something.
no. I was sitting there. It was like that was such a good story. I have nothing to add.
I know, yeah, I don't have much to add to that. Plus, I don't have, I mean, aside from just like kind of goofing around with it a little bit on the collections, I don't have much experience with Alex Kidd, but I'm glad you do.
I would leave it. You're not going to
Yeah,
have as fun a time with. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. And just thank the universe for Sonic, because man, could you imagine the weird alternate reality where Alex Kidd was the main mascot for Sega?
I mean, he was for a minute there, and
yeah, I know. Oh boy.
Whoa.
All right, you guys ready for my number 2?
Always ready for your number 2, buddy.
Do it.
My number 2 is Pokemon Red for the Game Boy, 1998. And I think I was an early adopter of Pokemon. I remember, I was just at the right age, the right time for the hype, and I jumped all on board. I think at this point I might have played Final Fantasy Legend 2, and I think that was maybe one of my first RPGs that I really got into. But this one was, I think, just tailor-made for my age group at the time, and was a perfect introduction to a lot of turn-based RPG mechanics that I would grow to love. I'm a little younger than Brian. You too, Alan. I think you got a couple years on me. So I was all in on Pokemon, and really, I mean, never looked back. I wouldn't say that because there was a significant period of time where I was not playing games, including Pokemon. But this was one where, again, a very core memory of, reading about it, knowing that there was hype coming, wanting to play it. I think one of my neighbors actually had it before I got it, and I actually got to, if not play it, then at least kind of like witness it and see how cool it was. And I had I wish I still had it, but I mean, it got beat to hell because we played so much of it and used the guide so much. But I had the Nintendo Power Guide with all 150 stickers in it, and the Pokedex in the back, and all the move sets and everything. Like this game was king for several years after I got it. Eventually, lost most of my Game Boy stuff, but this has again been like a focal point of my collecting, is going back and finding them. Unfortunately, obviously Pokemon games are very expensive, but this was one that, I still play it today. Like I will never not play. I will probably never not play one of the first 3 generations of Pokemon games. Just have them around, having the ability to just play them. They're relaxing to me. It brings me back to a simpler time. Pokemon Red.
It's absolutely ridiculous when you think about it now that game was possible on the original Game Boy. Like when you consider some of the other games that were available at the time, it blows your mind.
And I never really noticed it at the time, but like
Not that complex of a game.
it
It's
kind
huge,
of is
though.
and isn't.
Like-
yeah.
No, it's tiled. Like all your graphics are repeating tiles. That's where you save a lot of your space.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean,
it seems impressive, but at the same time, I don't know. It makes sense, especially at the age of the Game Boy. and the fact that memory was getting a little bit larger.
It's just interesting that like you go back to it now and it's some of the limitations of the game I didn't notice back then. Like obviously, you know, Ghost is kind of an unfinished Pokemon type. You know, there's only one Ghost and they're not super effective against what there's, you know, there's ways where the game is like definitely incomplete.
Psychic is broken.
What was the other thing that I mentioned or thought of? The inventory system is just fucking ridiculous. Like, like I didn't realize it at the time because it was just that's what we had to work with. But man, like the most recent time I played through either red or blue or yellow or whatever it was when we covered it earlier in the show, it was like, wow, I keep running out of space in my backpack. This is ridiculous. Oh man,
What a
good
game,
times though.
though.
What a game. Yeah.
I got really into Pokemon Yellow, and I was playing that when before I joined the military, but I was still playing it from I think about a year before I joined the military, and it got me through basic training, and I was really into it. But after that, I had no interest in moving forward with Pokemon games.
Oh man, Gold and Silver
which is weird
is so
because
good.
it's essentially a turn-based JRPG, right?
Yeah. And it's got a collecting element, and it's perfect. I don't know. Like, I'm glad they made Yellow, because Yellow was really their opportunity to say, like, hey, we got something here in Red and Blue, but, you know, we can make it better.
Yellow was just capitalizing on the cartoon.
It was, but they did a
Pikachu,
lot of...
just like Ash.
They did some quality of life improvements on the formula that they started with Red and Blue. It was like a chance to, like, obviously make more money and tie into the show, but like also, you know, you kind of got to make a game. Yeah, it's like you got to make a game and then give it a polish, like, and sell it again immediately.
Yeah, and I always pop when I see Jesse and James in that game.
Yeah, that's
they're the best. They're the best.
Yeah.
I love Team Rocket.
Yep.
That Meowth is a little fucker. Ugh. All right.
Fuck Meowth. All right, my number 2 is not going to surprise anybody. It is Super Mario Brothers for the NES, released in 1985 when I was but a wee lad. I didn't play this until, I was about 9 years old. So that's when we basically got our Nintendo. We got this with it because it was a pack-in game, and then not long after we got Super Mario Brothers 2, and then right after that, Super Mario Brothers 3 came out. Hence why I really like Super Mario Brothers. But this game was the first game in color I ever played. So I just talked about the game in black and white, Missile Command. This again was another babysitter because I was 9 years old and I couldn't be trusted, which my parents were right. And to keep the kids she was babysitting, you know, occupied, she turned on the Nintendo console. And for the first time in my life, I got to see Super Mario Brothers, and I did what every kid did with Super Mario Brothers. 1, you die on that first Goomba, and 2, you jump with your body. So, you know, you hit the A button and you flip the controller up because you think it's like interactive. So yeah, that was, for me, that was a really neat experience. For me, that was all like, wow, this is so cool and amazing. Of course, I was a kid, and I was like, one day I'm going to make video games, and here I am, some 40 years later, trying to do that.
Yeah.
So, this one did actually have an effect on me because it really did make me see video games, you know, instead of just being repetitive, you know, missiles coming down, shoot the missiles. This one actually had levels and an ending and all that kind of good stuff that we take for granted nowadays. And this is where it all started for me. So, yeah, as basic as the story you can get in Super Mario Brothers, it is still one of the big games that really got me into video games.
I think Super Mario Brothers is just, it might be lacking on story, but it is the best example of physics in a video game up until that point. Like, it set the bar for how...
Oh, yeah, not to mention level 1 actually is studied about how it taught you the game without you really realizing it was teaching you how to play the game.
The perfect tutorial level, absolutely. And
it
was always it was kind of an enigma to me because it was always that game that those Nintendo kids had, and I never played an NES back in its day, and it always just looked so cool to me. But yeah, I mean, somebody had to bring this game up on this list. It'd be a sin, right?
Oh yeah, I mulled over it because they didn't want to have two Mario Brothers, and I realized the list wasn't really a ranking list; it was more just a list
personal.
that talks about our experiences. So I figured, what the hell, let's have two Marios.
There you go.
So yeah, that is my number 2, and I think we're ready for our number 1s, boys.
Hey, listen!
1.
Well, in the spirit of you saying, things that you could have left off of your list, the only reason that I was going to leave this off the list is that I think it's too damn obvious. But then I think if I'd have done this episode and not mentioned it, it's personal, right? Who cares that everybody who's listening to this show already knows what I'm going to pick for my number 1. You two guys already know what I'm going to pick for my number 1. It was released in 1992 for the Sega Megasys and gave that plumber a run for his money. It is Sonic...
Alex the Kid 2.
You son of a bitch. The Hedgehog 2. What do I need to say about this game that I haven't already gushed about on this show before? I mean, I liked Sonic 1 a lot, in fact. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 just improved in every way on that formula. It was infinitely more playable. The levels were infinitely more interesting. And Sonic was infinitely more cool. I mean, this kicked off a personality shift in me that still exists to this day. I mean... with Sonic 2, that now I'm collecting Sonic the comics. Now I'm getting Sonic the Hedgehog toys. Now I'm reading Sonic the Hedgehog books. It's just like watching TV shows and all the rest of it. It's just like I modeled my entire childhood personality around that little blue bastard, and he didn't even talk. So it's just this game fundamentally changed my gaming history. So like, it took it from something that was... This is cool. This is fun. This is a nice little diversion. To no. This is the thing that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. If video games can be as fun and as cool and as edgy as this, then I want in. And I know he's not had the best run of things lately, but I will still always buy a Sonic game, and I will always play a Sonic game, and even the bad ones. I'm not blind. I know they exist somewhere. But it all started with this one. This is the game that absolutely cemented me as a gamer. And, to this day, now I'm doing a podcast about video games, and it all started with Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
And we come full circle.
And we
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I didn't play Sonic until, probably at a buddy's house when we were in our teens, and he was a game collector, and I played Sonic. I'm like, I don't get it. That was my history with Sonic. Then we played it for the show, and I still don't get it. It just feels like in that era, you either grew up Mario or you grew up Sonic, but never did you grow up both.
Well, no, and that's what was so wonderful about the 90s, because that Sega versus Nintendo thing, there's never been another thing like it.
No, people talking about console wars these days, it's not a console war. This is a console kerfuffle.
It's a skirmish at best.
It's a skirmish, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had Sonic 2. I had Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 with my Sega, and those were my Sonic games until Sonic and Knuckles. I would say I played a lot of Sonic 2. But yeah, I think the only reason why Sonic and Knuckles gets the edge for me is because it really was a time where I was very, I think I was focused on it. I kind of asked for it, it was a game that I was aware of. I think Sonic 2 and Sonic 1 were just kind of part and parcel with the Segas. So like when I got a Sega, that's kind of what was in with it. But Sonic and Knuckles for me was the one.
Well,
but
listen,
I could see an argument for 2.
We're overdue a Sonic 3 and Knuckles to complete the trilogy/quadrilogy, if you want to call it that. Because I started on this fucking thing with Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I'd been with the show. What was it, 6 months or something, 50 episodes? I can't remember. And we did Sonic 2.
Oh yeah.
We need to start planning that Sonic 3 and Knuckles playthrough, and maybe, I don't know, Brian, maybe that's the one that'll win you over.
You never know. There are sequels to franchises that I like where I don't like the original game, so.
There you go.
And it's not that I hate Sonic, I just don't get it.
No, that's fine. You know, I respect your opinion, even if it's wrong.
I mean, it was all about him going fast, and I play the game, and you like take 5 steps and run into a wall.
I think by Sonic 3 and Knuckles, they fixed that tremendously. Like
I hope
think
so. Yeah.
I think those games are much better for the go fast. I mean, there's still some gotcha moments, but it's not as bad as start stop as Sonic 1 for sure. Is screeches to a halt.
Yeah, I mean, once you do get any momentum there, you either have to see the blurry enemy that's about to hit you, jump at the right time, or walk into some spikes that come up out of the ground and knock all your rings out again, thusly stopping you. But
the thing you have to remember is that the speed is earned. Like, if you're playing through the game once, sure, you're not going to get up to a good
the
clip.
Speed is earned.
It's earned.
Hey,
like, if you
in the first one, the
game,
speed doesn't exist. I'll die on that hill. It's not fast going through a labyrinth zone.
No, it's 50-50, I'll give you that. I mean, Spring Yard Zone is pretty quick. But no, I mean, it's that kind of muscle memory thing. The more you play the game, the more you know the levels, you know what to avoid. And you can really build up some speed on those.
You have to know where to jump. Spring Yard Zone is the epitome of, like, you get up to a platform and something is there to just throw something at you immediately. unless you know exactly where it is.
I'll hear that argument.
Spring Yard Zone. All right. Shall I do my number 1?
Yes, please.
No, let's skip you.
Okay, yeah, skip me. Actually, this is going to be an interesting one because I think without this game kind of started the return for me. So there's a huge time gap between everything I've talked about prior to number 1 and my number 1. This is a game that brought me back from a pretty long hiatus. I think after the late 90s and then the early 2000s, I really kind of I was always kind of maybe gaming here and there, but really fell off for me, kind of a long tail and then a drop off for a while where I didn't. I'd say a good probably 10 or 15 years. And this game brought me back, and that is Breath of the Wild. For specifically the Switch, 2017. I don't think I got it until probably like 2019 or so, maybe 18. But this is, I think without this game and without coming back to it, I'm not sitting here talking to you guys. I think that kind of led the chain of events that, got me more interested in going back and playing things that I missed, or playing things that I either missed playing or missed playing, and both meanings of that. if you catch my drift.
I gotcha.
And yeah, this definitely started the Switch itself is a brilliant piece of technology for being able to both give you new Nintendo games and let you play all the old stuff that you loved. So this game brought me back, and that's why I'm here, and that's all I'll say about it. I pumped so many hours into it.
That is a hell of a game to come back to. Sorry, Brian.
That is one of the few games I 100%ed. And I did every... they're not called temples. What are they called?
The
Divine Beasts?
Yeah, they were the beasts.
Not the Shrine Beasts. The shrines.
The
shrines.
Yeah, those little pop-up shrines, yeah.
Then I walked every... You know how it actually would show you where you walked on the map?
Mm-hmm.
Mine has a zigzag, because I actually walked up and down all the different quadrants.
Oh, wow.
Holy cow.
Just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
That's crazy.
There was so much to do in that game.
Mine looks like a pile of spaghetti.
Then the DLC came out. A pile of spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
With red sauce. God.
Let's not open that can of sauce again.
Oh man, no, Breath of the Wild is a great
It
one.
really is.
Tears of the Kingdom to me did not hit as good as Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild just, I would like to say it almost reinvented Zelda, like the franchise, and took it away from kind of its formula of, find sword, go to dungeon, beat boss, go to the next dungeon. All the dungeons were thematic to the same degree, where it's like fire dungeon, ice dungeon, water dungeon, or temple or whatever. But it kind of broke it away because now you're going on this journey where you can go any direction you want. You just have 4 stories to complete, and you don't even need to complete them. That was the best part. Like speedrunners there just shoot their asses off that first island right into
to Ganon,
Hyrule, and
yeah.
they're fighting Ganon.
Yeah, with a stick.
With a stick. Maybe a cooked apple. Brian, I'm so glad you said that. Because I thought that might be a hot take. Because I just completed Tears of the Kingdom maybe a week or 2 ago. And I didn't love it as much as I did Breath of the Wild. And
I didn't like the darkness aspect, especially the underworld there. I found the underworld really boring.
I hardly spent any time down. I literally did as much as I needed to do down there and just booked.
I was trying to be a completionist on the game again, so I found all those light sources which show you where the shrines are on the upper world, because they're connected.
I just did not want to explore as much as I did with Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild just gave me that sense of wonder. And Tears of the Kingdom just kind of gave it to me again. I'm just like, I've kind of already done this.
Yeah, and you're revisiting areas. That's kind of what got me. And then you can't really make changes at that point because, you're rewriting history, and it's not really a new history because it's still the same Link. It's not like it's another 100 years in the future.
No. I mean, I'll always prefer the old style of Zelda, but Breath of the Wild was a fun mix-up.
Yeah, I think I prefer it to Tears of the Kingdom. As cool as some of the things they introduced were, and I do enjoy the odd Instagram reel of someone just making something absolutely ridiculous and beating the shit out of a troll with it.
Absolutely. I fucking hate the Ultra Hand, though. I did not enjoy that mechanic at all.
It's tough. It's tough. And I think I don't know. Yeah, we can get into it at some point. Maybe it's worth covering the two as some sort of an extra episode, because I could go on for a while.
Maybe.
For sure, because I definitely put a lot of time into both of those games.
Two episodes planned in one show. Fuck me.
Yeah, actually, like 3.
Maybe.
That's what we normally do, isn't it? We just start talking video games, and then next thing you know, we're off to the whiteboards and writing down games and stuff like that. And it's not actually a video game review; it's just a never-ending planning session.
Absolutely. Brian, why don't you bring us home?
All right, I'm just
What is your number one?
I kind of holding off here because do you guys think you know what it is?
Oh man, yes.
I know what your favorite. If it was like a list of your favorite games, then I know what I'd say.
But I think it might.
Alan's on the right.
I think that might be it, though.
It's got to be,
I don't
know.
I'm like psyching myself out, though.
It's Cool Borders.
You guys are thinking,
it's Cool Borders.
Cool Borders.
Oh my
God. Go to hell.
Oh
no.
Thank you, Cool Borders, for showing me everything that I don't like about games.
No, you would think it would be Chrono Trigger, right? But it's not. Chrono Trigger's not even on my list. Chrono Trigger was just another JRPG in my life. Yeah, I fell in love with it, but
you were already in love with JRPGs.
It did not solidify any part of my gaming life. So this game actually, my mom told me about, and it brought back memories. Like, this happened probably about a few months before we even put the poll up. So when this one came up there, I had to contact her again and just get a reminder what the name of the game was. So when she would take me into her office to entertain me, as, again, it seems my life might have been influenced by the people shoving video games in my face who later would tell me to stop playing video games. But she would sit me at her computer, and this is the old like MS-DOS style systems way back in the day, and she would turn on a game called Dark Castle.
Interesting.
Dark Castle. It's this platformer, and the whole thing is you're going through this level trying to get to the Black Knight, and I actually had to read up on it, look at videos and stuff like that, and it was just this flood of memories. I had forgotten about this game, but I honestly believe that this game must have been like a defining game in my enjoyment of video games because, like, I can't get a computer, I can't get a laptop that isn't game ready because I find the computer is like the medium I enjoy video games on the most. Even though like I play more often on my PlayStation or whatever different other consoles, it's just sitting down at a PC playing games for me is entertaining because I can end it anytime I want, or I can close the window and just, pop up some internet or something like that, or chat with you guys, or get angry that you guys are like 37 messages deep and I keep hearing blick in the middle of my game, bastards. Power Wash Simulator is supposed to be relaxing, but that's off topic. Well, yeah, so this game, I don't know, it's a really good memory for me because it's obviously time I spent with my mom, and I would like to hunt down a copy, and I think I found one online. Like, you can find those websites that will let you kind of stream these old games. The MS call it, what is it, DOSBox or something like that? Yeah. So I'm probably going to go do another quick run through until I realize how garbage the game actually is. But no, it's why it's my number one. It's why, like I said, Chrono Trigger's not my number one because it's just another game in my life. But this is a game with a story behind it and a game that actually had memories that come flooding back to really bring me to this point. And all my games were early games. I think outside of Super Mario, two of my games are in the 90s, but most of my games are in the 80s.
I detect another quick play coming, and that would be another
formative
planned.
Years. Yeah.
Yeah, quick play the early years.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I have actually heard of this game, but I think it's because the Angry Video Game Nerd did a video on it.
Did he?
I'm sure he did.
I stopped watching him.
I dip in and out if the game looks interesting, but I don't watch as much as I used to.
Once he joined that group, I just felt like the quality of his stuff kind of suffered because back when he was independent, he was more edgy, he was more on the right note, and now it just feels I don't know, it doesn't entertain me. Do you remember, or you ever watch one? It's called Fully Ramblematic now.
Oh, Zero Punctuation.
Yeah, Zero Punctuation used to be really good. And then again, he got bought out, or not bought out, but he joined another group of people, and then his videos kind of the same thing. They kind of started falling a little flatter.
I love Zero Punctuation. That's something I would watch endlessly.
I will not bow to any sponsor.
It's like people only do things because they get paid, and that's just really sad.
Now, do you guys ever watch Video Game Donkey?
No.
No.
Doesn't ring a bell.
He's a YouTuber, and people thought he was black for the longest time until he showed his face because of the way he talks. But he does like comedy videos, and he used to review games. I don't know if he has reviewed a game in a while, but his videos are basically all these new games come out, and he's just screwing around in them. Mm-hmm. I'll send you guys a video of the Skyrim video of all the mods he put on there.
God, check that out.
I'll send that one to you. I'll put that in the Discord, and enjoy it if you enjoy it. If you don't, you don't. At least
check
you
it
tried.
out. This was a lot of fun. 5x5x5. There we go.
Yeah, we should. If you enjoyed this, let us know because we can work some more of these in. It actually helps us get time to play some of the other games that we,
sure.
Obviously
That's why we do it.
We've lined up a good 2 or 3 episodes just talking like this. So, man.
And if you want to hear an episode where Sam just sits there and breathes into the mic for 2.5 hours, well, you let us know as well.
Sign me up. I'm into
Was that what I did?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh shit. Hopefully,
I was just giving the offer. I was giving the offer.
We've just planned
that's
our
a Patreon.
Our 6th future episode of this episode. We've just planned.
Yeah, that's a new Patreon tier. Is just like me breathing deeply into the microphone. I was gonna say, I hope I'm not like I feel a little tired today, so I was hoping I wasn't just like over here like
before. Well, there's some of our episodes from the last year that my mic would be picking up everything, and then I'd be trying not to breathe in the mic, but if
Yeah.
you listen to the silence between our talking, you'll hear
Oh God.
and it's just because I'm breathing normally, but it's picking it up. But I figured out how to filter that out, so that's why it's been a little more crisp lately.
I
Yeah.
love it.
And I got a new mic this year. I don't know if anyone's noticed.
And the
I
the
have.
quality just keeps getting more and more less mediocre.
There
We're
it
doing
is.
all right.
Yeah,
There it
once
is.
we hit mediocre, we're done.
Yep.
That's it.
Then we'll get a
The show
sponsor,
will end.
and
Yeah.
then the show will change forever.
Absolutely.
No,
All of a sudden, Sam's walking around Wisconsin with the posse.
yep.
Mr. Sam wants a burger.
Yeah.
Get that man a cheeseburger.
Double the cheese.
Right, how do we fucking end this show?
Yeah. I don't.
I have no
don't know.
idea. I've been trying to think, like, that's why I've been still talking. So if you're still listening, you haven't turned it off, thanks for listening to Retrotopia. Next week, we're going to be back with something else. This is being recorded a bit early, so I don't have the schedule open in front of me. So next is back to the regular scheduled video game. Alan, Sam, this was fun. 5x5x5. Let us know if you liked it. We'll do it again. If not, we'll go back to the 5x5 formula and give somebody a week off. Until next time, boys, any last words?
Shout out to the Isle of Man, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out our heroes at the hero tier. So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to Andrew Wright, Wildcard, Unbuckled Cape, Makeshift Money, Sergeant Ombre, Randy Berridge, BCOS19, J Nasty 15, Chris Kaplane, Jack Datchler, Sir Busts-a-Lot, Big Kid 782, Super Dave, Big Brown Dog, Studstill Smash, Fallen Snow Kiku, Radmac, Calin Hygus, Old Man Gamer, Raging Demon, Radioactive Hooli, Blue Shell Discharge, The Big Deal, Dylan Jacobson, Game Genius, H, Brother Retro, Shane's World, of Indoley, Brian Spritzer. So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.